When you're planning a backyard movie night, a poolside binge-watch session, or just a permanent screen for those sunny evenings, the biggest fear is ending up with a TV that looks great on paper but turns into a cracked, washed-out eyesore after a few weeks of weather. You want something that can actually survive the heat, the rain, the glare of a summer sun, and still deliver a picture you're proud to show friends. At the same time, you're trying to protect your wallet. So the decision feels a lot like walking a tightrope between overpaying for a premium model and buying a cheap indoor set that will die in a month. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The SYLVOX 65-inch outdoor TV is built specifically for that in-between space. A TV that lives outside but still wants to behave like the best indoor panels you're used to. What makes it different from grabbing a regular 4K TV and tucking it under a gazebo is the whole ecosystem SYLVOX has designed for outdoor use. A sealed chassis that resists humidity, a coating that fights glare, speakers tuned for open-air environments, and a built-in Google TV platform so you're not stuck with a separate streaming box. But like any product that tries to do a lot, there are trade-offs you need to understand before you click Add to Cart. First off, let's talk about picture quality in the real world. The anti-glare coating is the headline feature, and you'll actually notice the difference when you set the TV up on a patio that gets direct sunlight for most of the day. While most indoor panels become a washed-out mess under a 1000 lux sun, the SYLVOX screen keeps its contrast decent enough that you can still see details in a sports broadcast without squinting. The HDR10 support adds a little punch to bright scenes, but don't expect the same cinematic depth you'd get from a high-end OLED in a darkroom. In practice, it's bright enough for daylight viewing and still looks respectable when the sun goes down. If you're the type who watches movies after sunset with ambient lighting, you'll find the picture more than adequate. Sound is another piece that often gets ignored in outdoor TV discussions. SYLVOX fitted the unit with a Dolby Atmos compatible speaker array that's calibrated for open spaces. In a quiet backyard, the audio fills the area without needing a separate soundbar. The bass is present, but because the enclosure is weather-sealed, the low frequencies don't get the same punch as a dedicated subwoofer would. If you're planning to host a small gathering where people are spread out, the built-in speakers will do the job, but for a larger party, you might still want to hook up an external system. Installation is where the rubber meets the road. The TV comes with a rugged mounting kit designed to bolt directly into a concrete pad, a steel frame, or a specially treated wood post. The instructions assume a basic level of DIY skill. You'll need a drill, a wrench, and the willingness to align a fairly heavy 65-inch panel. The unit weighs around 70 pounds, so you'll probably need a second pair of hands to lift it safely onto the mount. Once it's up, the cable management system lets you route power and HDMI connections through a sealed conduit, keeping water out of the connectors. The biggest hassle is making sure the mount is in a spot that gets enough shade during peak sun hours. Even with the anti-glare coating, placing the TV in direct, unshaded sunlight for hours can still cause a slight washout over time. One of the reasons people hesitate is the price tag. At a few $100s more than a comparable indoor TV of the same size, you're paying for the weatherproofing, the anti-glare glass, and the built-in streaming platform. If you already own a decent indoor TV and are just looking for a screen to put behind a pergola, you might feel the premium is steep. However, when you compare the cost of buying an indoor TV and then spending extra on a weatherproof enclosure, a dedicated outdoor unit ends up being the more sensible option. The value comes from the peace of mind that you won't have to replace the panel after a season of rain or sandstorms. Who should buy this? If you have a permanent outdoor living area, think a covered patio, a deck with a roof, or a garden gazebo, and you want a screen that can stay installed year-round, the SYLVOX 65-inch is a solid match. It's also a good fit for people who love streaming services without adding extra hardware. The Google TV interface is baked right in, so you get access to Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, and all the usual apps with a remote that works even when you're a few feet away. Families that enjoy weekend sports marathons or couples that set up a cozy outdoor cinema for date nights will appreciate the combination of bright daytime visibility and decent built-in sound. On the other hand, if your outdoor setup is more of a temporary arrangement, like a pop-up patio for